Notice of long-arm statutes not lawful. Your name or organization. Your address. City, state, zip code. Email address. Phone number. Date. 2. Recipient's name or organization. Recipient's address. City, state, zip code. Subject. Formal notice regarding the unlawful nature of long-arm statutes. Dear, recipient's name. Legal basis for this notice. This letter serves as formal notification that any application of long-arm statutes is unlawful and unenforceable when applied in a manner that exceeds constitutional, jurisdictional, or due process limitations. Long-arm statutes, which attempt to extend a jurisdiction's legal reach beyond its territorial boundaries, must adhere to constitutional due process protections and cannot be applied arbitrarily or without legitimate legal standing. Jurisdiction must be established through lawful means. No state or federal authority may assert personal jurisdiction over an individual or entity without due process and valid jurisdictional claims. Extraterritorial enforcement is constitutionally limited. Any attempt to enforce laws beyond legally recognized boundaries violates jurisdictional principles and established legal precedents. Due process and fair notice are required. Any assertion of long-arm statutes without proper legal basis, fair notice, and opportunity to challenge jurisdiction is invalid. Legal standing must be verified. Any entity asserting legal authority through long-arm statutes must provide verifiable proof of lawful jurisdiction and compliance with constitutional standards. Immediate required actions. Cease and desist any unlawful use of long-arm statutes. Any enforcement attempt based on these statutes must be immediately withdrawn unless properly supported by due process and jurisdictional authority. Provide documentary evidence of jurisdiction. If the recipient asserts jurisdiction under a long-arm statute, they must present verifiable legal documentation proving compliance with constitutional limitations. Acknowledge the limitations of extraterritorial claims. The recipient must formally recognize that extraterritorial enforcement is not lawful without explicit legal standing. Legal consequences for noncompliance. Failure to acknowledge and adhere to the constitutional limitations on long-arm statutes may result in legal challenges and jurisdictional disputes. Any enforcement action based on an unlawful assertion of jurisdiction may be overturned and dismissed. Liability for due process violations. Any party enforcing extraterritorial claims may be held legally accountable for civil rights violations. Public and legal scrutiny. Continued enforcement of unlawful long-arm statutes may lead to reputational harm, regulatory penalties, and civil litigation. This notice serves as official documentation affirming that any attempt to enforce long-arm statutes beyond lawful jurisdictional boundaries is unlawful and subject to challenge. Any failure to comply with this notice shall be subject to full legal rebuttal and enforcement measures. A response addressing this matter is expected no later than specific date. If further clarification is required, you may contact me at your contact information. Sincerely. Your name. Your position, if applicable. Your organization name, if applicable. Enclosures, list any attached documents,